You see what I mean? Boneless, lemon pepper, no flats. Um, Sorry, let me finish on my food. So uncivilized. My bad. My bad, people. I accidentally hit the go live button. Didn't mean I can't pause the stream. So we'll just roll into it. Excuse me. We'll watch as you guys trickle. You're kind of seeing a behind the scenes too, because this is kind of how it is. You know, when I stream all the time, to like I let it sit there for a little bit when I have my green room with my usual setup before we go into it. As you guys know, I took down some notes because I had to, because this was a really big game, and it was really big. What the hell? We got a flyaway up there. Hello. It was big of for the life of me, I can't say when the next team will go back to back, because there's parts of me where, let's say the New York Knicks win the NBA Finals. I don't think there's a guarantee they get back to the NBA Finals. I don't even think there's a guarantee they get back to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then, so you have that, and then the same thing with the Spurs, because it's like, don't you think the Thunder are going to get just that much better? And don't you think for the next foreseeable future, because this is kind of funny too, and this is just me thinking out loud. I'm thinking Ant-Man, Wemby, SGA, Thunder. Ant-Man, Wemby, SGA, the Thunder. And then Luka, and wherever Joker is. Those are the 5 teams. Those are the only 5 teams that will compete in the West for the future. Because, like, if Luka, like, let's say in 2-3 years, Luka and the Lakers, it's not working out, you better believe him and Ant-Man would team up and they'd go to Miami or something, which I'm just out that hypothetical. Because I've already given my thoughts and opinions on Giannis potentially getting traded from the Bucks. I see you guys starting to trickle in. Hello, welcome back to another stream. If you guys like stuff, be sure to hit that like button. We are talking about Game 7. This is my post-game reaction to Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals between the Spurs and the Thunder. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. So, as I'm thinking, excuse me, with why this is impactful, with how dominant the Thunder are, because they are. You can't look at the foul baits, you can look at all these other extra outlines that you want to look at on why the Thunder are not enjoyable to watch. But there is kind of a, the Thunder, if there was a team to go back to back, it would have been the Thunder. But notice the Raptors didn't go to back to back. Kawhi left. Lakers did not go back to back. They lost in the first round. The Warriors didn't go back to back. They lost to the Lakers in the second round. Nuggets didn't go back to back. They lost to the T-Wolves. Celtics didn't go back to back. And then the Thunder didn't go back to back. So we haven't had a repeat champ since KD was with the Warriors. And if I'm going to be honest, from all the back in 22 after the Warriors finals, I did say, guess what? The league runs through the Warriors. It has, it still will. That aged like milk, because funny enough, Klay Thompson ends up getting traded a year later. What's up? Nah, KC's better. Nah, not tonight. Not tonight, at least. Which we can get to. I'm glad you guys are here. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I just took down a couple notes, just post-game thoughts to Game 7 and what we witnessed, because we witnessed a great game. Because this conference finals was better than last year's NBA Finals by far. last year's Eastern Conference Finals, last year's Western Conference Finals, this year's Eastern Conference. It was better than the 2024 NBA Finals when the Celtics beat the Mavericks. It was better than, like, this was an all-timer. And right now the emotions, maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment for saying that, but like you go look, we haven't had an entertaining game like this since probably round 1 with the Heat and the Bucks. That was some pretty good basketball. The Eastern Conference Finals that year too, with the Heat and the Celtics. I mean, even we're up 3-0 and then they started to blow that lead, but then Game 7 ended up being a blowout. The 2022 NBA Finals was very entertaining for the most part. And so just like every single year has had something different. I don't think Wemby's path or the Spurs' path was easy at all to the NBA championship. The Knicks one, no. I don't think it was easier either because the Sixers were healthy and the Cavs were healthy. They just stunk up the joint and got swept. And then, which again, it's funny, and I might make a video on it where if, like, let's say the Spurs do win the NBA Finals, it's like, other than the Spurs, the team that competed the most with the Knicks were the Hawks, and at one point we're up 2-1, which is just, it's funny. But anyways, enough of me rambling, guys. I thank y'all for being here. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe button if you love sports content. I'm a small channel. You know, usually I try to look at the comments and stuff and respond as I can. All right, so Spurs Thunder Game 7, I gave my halftime address, and I talked about how the Thunder were losing this game because they kept just throwing up bricks, brick after brick, building that house, waiting for a Wemby werewolf to come blow it down because 60%. They shot 6 for 10 in the 3 alone in the fourth quarter. That stat popped up, and then 2 for 6 for the 3 for the Thunder. Abysmal shooting. That is one reason why there's a lot of reasons why they lost. So there's that. And here's the other fun thing too. I just wrote this down as a note. Hate watch the Thunder. If you're new to the channel, guys, I hate watch everybody, and I love to just dissect and pick apart stuff. There's that infamous meme of, like, you know, Drewski walking in and like ha ha clapping and stuff, and I like the memes of like hate watching LeBron get eliminated, hate watching the Chiefs lose in prime time, or hate watching Michigan lose to Oklahoma or something. Like, I think watching a game, I take some notes, I evaluate what I watch, but then I also I try to fit in line and go, that is why. Right there, that is why they lost the game. Whether I'm a fan or not. Because truthfully, if you've been following them for a while, you would know I am the biggest Heat and Thunder fan there is. And, you know, I've already given my thoughts on Jimmy Butler leaving. I've already given my Bam Adebayo, potential trade destinations. I've already given my thoughts on the Thunder. Like, you know, with the Thunder breakup between KD and Russ, I was Russ all the way. So the term hate watch, I mean, like, it's kind of funny to see just how much, just in the past 30 minutes, how everybody's jumping on the Thunder, and it's like, yes. But it's kind of like, you know, Thunder lose, NBA fans win. I think it's fun, and it's all for fun and games. It's because it's like, let's be real here. Again, with my thoughts on the Spurs and the Knicks, dude, we could be here. Look, the Thunder, pencil them in, dude, to be in the Western Conference Finals again. Because again, I don't think the Lakers are gonna. I don't think the Nuggets are gonna beat them. Again, the only team that has been able to beat the Thunder are the Thunder, and now the Spurs. Like, oh, the T-Wolves. Look at the T-Wolves. Nope. The Trailblazers or the Suns. Like, if the Suns, no, it's not happening. Like, the West runs through, and this may age like milk. The West, for the foreseeable future, the West runs through the Spurs or the Thunder. That is it. There's no two ways about it, because I have seen enough in this playoff that Spurs aren't going anywhere and that the Thunder aren't going anywhere. This isn't like a long shot where it's like, how'd the T-Wolves get here? Or Because, I mean, and this blows my mind still, is that Mavericks team, could have kept going back, but they traded Luka. And the second they traded Luka, and yeah, okay, they have Cooper Flag and whatever, but it's like Mavericks aren't doing anything. The Mavericks haven't gotten a return on of the Anthony Davis trade. Like coughing baby hydrogen, you like that is now again. You know, Lakers definitely probably could have gotten a little farther if, but do I think the Lakers were going to beat the Thunder? No, not even a little bit. So let's talk some things here in the second half. This game was very close. The Spurs did not pull away at any point. So I feel like the Thunder very well could have won this game. I mean, there was it was third quarter. It was the foul bait 3 that he bricked. Dude, I just screamed at the TV. I was like, shameless, because it's like, boo, what are you doing? Again, if I was the commissioner of the league, the up and down foul, I'd get rid of it. Like, because with technology of like freezing frames and stuff, if your feet are not off the ground shooting the same time the defender is trying to defend, feet are planted. So if the defender's feet are up here and your feet are planted and then your feet go for you to try to draw a foul, nope, I would not. In fact, I would award and I'd foul you like I'd do a personal foul on the offense for foul baiting, and that's what I would consider the penalty. And just depending how egregious it could be, I would call it technical or something, because this is kind of what's funny in the 3-ball, Chet Holmgren, and bricked shots at the. That is why the Thunder won. So we're going to try to get to all 3 points, and maybe I might lose sight on some of them. So there was the 3-ball that, was baited. I think I'm going to try to find the video. If SGA, it's the 3 he airballed, because there were like 2 or 3 possessions where Williams missed one and SGA missed one because airballed and went off the front of the net and down. I want to find that video because I want to make a meme on it. But I think there were multiple times, and for example, with that 3-pointer or with any of the other 3-pointers, you saw Wallace. Why is it taking your bench players Wallace to be what keeps you in the game? Like, if he wasn't from, like, I believe 15, 19, something like that. Like, there's a stat all in the fourth quarter because he kept them in it. He was dragging the Thunder more than SGA was. But again, I think if SGA makes those tough clutch, maybe we could get into some ticky-tack foul calls and then the Thunder end up winning this one. But I mean, it didn't happen because, again, I wrote this down too. Plenty of moments for Thunder because, again, we're at the 4-minute mark, 6-point game. We're at the 3-minute mark, 6-point game. Like, Thunder, it's not like the Spurs just ran up the score and ran away with it with 5 minutes where it's like, okay, let's get the subs in, whatever. Like, this was a close game from end to end. The other thing, too, that I wanted to mention a little bit is Wemby had a deep. That was the other, because there was the Cornet. There was a Cornet block on Hartenstein, which the announcers talked about it and how that was what started the Spurs run, because the Spurs run to start the second half, they went on like a 6-2 scoring run. And then all of a sudden, the Thunder had an 11-0 run at some point too. And then Wemby came back. Wemby started to get hot from the 3. The other thing too is Champagnie. He was hitting some 3s. And then offensive rebounds. I wrote down offensive rebounds because that was a score too. Offensive rebounds and second chance points. I didn't talk about it at the half break. And the second that I ended the stream, I was like, damn it, that's one thing I didn't talk about. Because at one point, too, in the first half, with how close the Thunder were in this game, the reason why was because you watched it, the Thunder would shoot, miss, and then offensive rebound. And then they'd get another shot, and then versus the Spurs, where it's like, Wemby goes in for a layup, misses, they get the rebound and go. In the second half, the Spurs out-rebounded the Thunder. That's another reason why they won this game. So, boom, there's 2 of them. offensive rebounds, and the Spurs out rebounded the Thunder in the second half. Boom, mark it. That's why and then the Thunder bricking threes at the very end of the game and missing opportunities because again, there were 3 or 4 transitional plays where Caruso, SGA, Dort, they're throwing up the threes, brick, and they miss. Those opportunities still there because guess who missed on the other end too? The Spurs. Because guess what the score stayed at? 6. It was 6, it was 9, it was 11, then it went back to 6. And at one point, too, and here was the funny thing, because was not playing well, they threw McCain back in there. What does he do? He sinks a 3, and it's like, oh shit. The TikToker might tie the game. And then 5 seconds after the game, I just beat Wemby to advance to my first NBA final. Something like that. But I think, so I talked about the Wemby 3, the block on Hartenstein, the offensive rebounds, plenty of moments for the Thunder, SGA airballing. SGA got cold at the worst, because I don't know the stats. I don't have all the bells and whistles with me to pull up the stats, but there's parts of me that want to see the second half shooting for SGA, because the other thing too is him and Wallace were the only ones competing and keeping them close. Like Caruso disappeared. The other funny thing too is McCain also disappeared until he subbed back in for Chet. And so there's parts of me that wonder if they benched Chet, could they have won? Maybe. I don't know. But then the other kind of the biggest thing on why the Spurs won, I think it comes down to Chet Holmgren. And the reason why I say that is we're going to go look at the box points and we're going to look at the stat sheet. And I've said it before. When your starting 5 is not scoring double-digit points and one of your starters only has this many points, because I don't think he shot once in the second half. I don't know, because again, I don't have the bells and whistles and the stats with me. But I think 2 reasons, and I talked about it at halftime, where I said the number one excuse Thunder fans are going to use for them losing was J-Dub not playing. That is a big thing. That is a huge thing, because there's like, let's say he put in 15 points tonight, or barely at minimum 9 or 7. He put, because I think, wasn't it like 107 and 111? Like, didn't the Spurs only win by like 5 or 6? So even at minimum, if he had 2 more points than what Chet scored, it's 111. We're going to OT. Like, when SGA was hucking up those 3 at the very end, and again, ticky-tack, keeping it close, we're possession by possession, battle by battle. Life of me thought, because the Thunder were keeping it close enough, I was like, this thing's going to overtime. But around the 2.5-ish mark, after that air ball 3 by SGA, I was like, no, this one's done. The other thing too that I was really nervous on, I thought Wemby was going to foul out. Because first I thought Castle, because Castle got in foul trouble, but then they stopped. And then Wemby got in foul trouble because, yes, Caruso was about to throw the house down with that dunk, and then he's swiping him across the face, which, that was a penalty. And then in the same breath, Wemby's ghost phantom foul call by Williams was either no, Williams didn't touch him, but Wemby ended up, sink 2, and then he hit like 2 dagger 3s after that. So it's kind of like, it didn't matter. Like, not really. Again, if this was a 1-point win or a 2-point win, you could go back to the phantom foul call, because I don't think Williams touched him. So then Wemby has his 5 fouls, and there was parts of me with the tie up where him and Chet tied up a couple times in Hartenstein. I was like, watch there be something stupid where, he's trying to set a pick and roll for Harper or Fox. We'll talk about Fox too, where he's trying to, and then just SGA just stops, and it's like, there's your 5th foul. No, 6th foul. Get him the F out of here. Like, I was just waiting. I was waiting on pins and needles for that to happen, because the fact that both two of the starting five. Sorry. The fact that two of the starting five were in foul trouble, I was like, oh boy. Um, and um, so that was one thing I was like, here we go. But he didn't, which is fine. Fox, I think De'Aaron Fox showed up big in this game too. Left Harper because there was the putback too where you know Embiid's like, hey, up here, up here. He shoots a three, he bricks it, he goes in for a layup, and then here comes Harper, whoop, cleaning up. Again, offensive glass. Offensive glass is why this won this one. But yeah. Fox had some big buckets in this game. And where I would compare Fox, I would also compare Wallace with the Thunder because again, Dort was Dort this game. Chet, where was Chet this game? Like there were multiple reasons on why again, there are multiple reasons why the Thunder won this game, and there are multiple reasons why no the Spurs. Whoa, what the hell? There are multiple reasons why the Spurs won this game, and there are multiple reasons why the Thunder lost it. It was because of Wembanyama. It was because of other players like bench showing up, which was, I think, impressive as hell. Impressive as hell. And I think what's cool. So that's my that's my big soapbox to get caught up on is I think the Spurs won this game because you shoot 60% from the three in the fourth quarter. Very good. You have that. You have star players for the Thunder not showing up when they need to and shooting awful. And then, just everybody getting the puppies organized. And so, yeah, I'm not too disappointed or upset with who won this game. Like, I think because who we have are probably, my opinion, pretty loud last year on the Knicks losing to the Pacers and being, oh my gosh, because truthfully, when the T Wolves played the Thunder, I was like, the Thunder aren't losing this. And then when the Thunder played Pacers, I was like, the Thunder aren't losing this. I look at the Spurs and I look at the Knicks. I have no clue who's going to win this. Because, truthfully, what if Cat shuts down Wemby? That very well could happen. But you know what could also happen? Brunson Burner running out of gas. And then, we're hucking up threes and we lose one in San Antonio, and then we don't defend home court in the Garden. Oops, we're down 3-1, leaving game 4. But just this finals, probably since 21. This is probably the first finals since probably 2021 where it's like, yeah, I have no clue who's winning this. No clue. Because in 2020, like, the Lakers were so much better than the Heat. In 21, again, Suns were pretty good. Same with the Bucks. 22, I think 22 was pretty even, but again, like the Celtics first time there versus the Warriors who've been there before. 23, obviously, Joker, man. The size of the Nuggets and the physicality was too much for the Heat. And so that one was kind of pretty easy to predict, even though I was like, I'm a big Heat fan. And so I'm delirious going, yeah, hell yeah, they could win this. And then 24, Celtics were stacked. Luka or Kyrie had a bad night. Mavericks lost that game. And that's eventually what happened because, hey, they were down 3-0 in that series at one point. And then that was 24. And then in 25, again, huge super stacked Thunder team against a whole bunch of scrappy underdogs that just ran through the East, known as the Indiana Pacers against the Thunder. So it's like, okay, that one was pretty easy to predict. So again, the reason why I'm glad that it's Spurs and Knicks is I don't know. Because it's like could we see the Spurs in games 2, 3, and 5 where it's like, okay, or are we going to see the Knicks just absolutely melt like how they did where the Spurs are getting some last shots? Because I will give the Knicks credit too. Like Halliburton did have a historic run with a handful of buzzers where it's like, yeah, this has never happened before. But like they were down 0 in that series, and then they went down 3-1, but then forced. They got to 6. Sorry, excuse me, yawn all over the place. But I just I'm excited either way for this NBA Finals. And the thing too to kind of like this whole thought is there's parts of me that do think that if Chet played better, they would have won. There's parts of me that think that if Jalen Williams played, they also would have won. But again, that's no fault to the Spurs. Like it's not the Spurs' fault that Chet played bad. The Spurs can only play who's in front of them. You know what I mean? And so I'm not gonna try to discredit the Spurs because what the Spurs did is something that the Lakers, the Suns, the Nuggets, the T Wolves, the Pacers, and a handful of other teams in the regular season this year and the regular season last year, since the freaking Mavericks in 24, the Spurs joined that elite list of we are the only teams that have been able to beat these guys because that's how good the Thunder are. And I like because it took me a while to realize this too. I don't think there's going to be another generation, era, whatever the hell you want to call it, in the NBA that's going on right now. And what I mean by right now is how many repeat champs have we had? How many teams have like since the because like how many times did the Cavs and Warriors play? Like yeah, 4 in a row. And guess what? Every single series had its own little story of entertainment as well. But since then, since 2020 especially since 2020, it's been 2 different teams every single year where 2020 had Heat Lakers, 21 had Bucks, 22 had Warriors, Celtics. So Celtics have been repeats a little bit. The Heat in 23 against the Nuggets repeats a little bit. But again, yeah, since 22, let's go from 22 alone. Celtics and Warriors, 23, Nuggets Heat, 24, Mavericks Celtics, 25, Pacers Thunder, 26, Knicks Spurs. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to see the parity because one thing on why I've like enjoyed hockey and watching hockey is also the last handful of years before the Florida Panthers. Sorry, I was scratching my eye. Before the Panthers and the Oilers were like, hey, let's make this an annual thing. It was different teams. It was different freaking teams, and there was so much parity. There was so much parity in the NFL to the point where they joke about, okay, you don't want to be the best team and get the President's Trophy because then you'll lose, and like you don't want to be, a 1 seed either because you have the chance of, losing an 8 seed or be a 2 seed and lose to a 7 seed. Like you don't want to be the Hurricanes either because you'll lose to eventual champs, or you don't want to be Toronto. Oh, I've said too much. Sorry, people. But yeah, there's a lot of fun parody in the NHL where it feels like a different team every year. Like this Vegas team. This Vegas team is not the same Vegas team that was here 3 years. This Carolina team. I haven't even been in 20 years, so you're gonna get. Ugh. Sorry, whoa. Wrong pipe, hold on. Whoa, wrong pipe. Woo! Woo! We're good. Sorry. I agree. I agree. With the the no more dynasties because just and dynasties is such a funny word too. But like you compare the NBA show to the NFL where it's like, well, since the bubble, it's like we've had either Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes win the Super Bowl every year. Because how many times have the Chiefs been in the Super Bowl? How many times have the Eagles been in the Super Bowl? Not as much parity. And if I were to compare, if I were to compare the NFL to the NHL and the NBA, the truth is we would have seen the Chargers go to the Super Bowl. Like that's a fun comparison that I want to make is that you could equivalate like the Oilers kind of being like the Chargers or something where yeah, that's the one year. Oh yeah, that's the year that the Chargers went. And like who did the Chargers play? What the heck? They played the Lions or the Ravens go one year and it's like who'd they play? Oh, they played Ravens like so versus what was actual where it's like, well, it's been Eagles Chiefs, Eagles Chiefs, Eagles Chiefs, Chiefs 49ers, Seahawks Patriots because it's like, oh, we had to wait 6 years. No, 7 years. We had to wait 7 years for the Patriots to get back to the Super Bowl. Oh, the humanity. But yeah. So I think it's cool the amount of parity that is in the NBA, and this is a hot take that will either age like milk or like wine. Is with where the NBA is now. Because I threw out the other day, yeah, I could Wemby win a couple rings. I could see playing a couple rings. The truth is, and where I see the league now, because LeBron, Curry, Harden, um, the 2010s, the era of the guys in the 2010s and the faces, the Paul Georges, Leonards, these guys are going to retire. And what's kind of funny is Wemby has kind of made a name for himself. Same with Brunson, where it's like it wasn't as, I don't want to use the word forced, but as far as I know, it took a couple years before Curry was the face of the league. Because as far as I remember, he's like, this is your what? And he's been playing since, the We Believe Warriors? Oh, so it's like you add up the years and it's like, oh, he didn't burst onto the scene until he'd already been in the league a while. And so I just think when you look and you see that Luke doesn't have a ring yet, Ant-Man doesn't have a ring yet, Wemby and Brunson are currently, in contention to go get a ring. There's parts of me where to throw out, yeah, LeBron's going to have multiple rings. Ray Allen's going to have multiple rings. Curry's going to have multiple rings. Talking points 6 years ago, we thought, yeah, Jokic is going to have a couple rings by the time he's said and done. Giannis is going to have a couple rings by the time it's said and done. There's parts of now where we watch how the Bucks have been since the 2021 season. We watch the Thunder lose and not go back to back. There's parts of me where it's like, I think the Thunder can still compete and get another ring, but there's parts of me how much parity is going on. I don't know if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown get another ring with the Celtics. I don't know. Because is Jimmy Butler ever going to get his ring? Is Westbrook ever going to get his ring? What if out of like the Paul George, Chris Paul, Harden, Westbrook, what if out of like that era of players, what if only one of them is supposed to get a ring or something like that? It's like, what team's that going to be? Well, whichever, that's going to take another year of like SGA's prime or Luka's prime away. You know what I mean? I know it's a weird comparison, but in conclusion, that's kind of all I had to say was like as stupid as I was thinking, oh, the Nuggets could go back to back. Oh yeah, the Celtics could go back to back. Oh yeah, the Thunder, the Thunder could go back to back. We've reached a point where it's like, if the Knicks win, I don't think the Knicks are going back to back. If the Spurs win, I think they're going back to back, because there are just so many players that I've listed and named where it's like, with how competitive the league is, there's no way, unless bing, as I say, like, hate watch and like try to find that thin line that bring it home. This will stay the way it is, which is good for the league, or it'll stay this way until guys start teaming up. That, and then we have a resurgence of super teams where, oh, the Knicks aren't a super team. Could this Knicks team beat LeBron's? No. No, they couldn't. But yeah, we where it's like, okay, Giannis gets his second, Jimmy gets his first, or Joel Embiid gets one. Like, the way I could see stuff like this start to happen is, well, we put Mitchell, we put Giannis, we put Bam all on the same team. We put Westbrook in his highlight years, like the dudes on his last years. We put him as kind of like a sixth man rotation. We put him on the bench with the Celtics, but then, oh, who else did the Celtics need to bring on board? Well, they got rid of Pritchard and Horford, and they brought in Giannis and Mitchell. That's how they did it. And so, just teams stacking each other and making super teams, because, I'm trying to think of superstars on solo teams. Like, Paulo Banchero is not going to stay in Orlando. No. Even Shaq left the Magic before he went to the... You see what I mean? So, and that, I guess that all ties back to my thoughts about Giannis is, Giannis ain't going to leave the Bucks, but Giannis has that pull where it's like, oh, Kyrie, oh, you're sick of the Mavericks being a bottom feeder team? Come on over here. Kyrie in Milwaukee, that'd do really good. Oh, you're tired of listening to the media blame you. You're tired of listening to your teammates blame you on why you guys got swept by the Knicks? Come on over to Milwaukee. And so then, oh, look at this. The Milwaukee Bucks have Giannis, Mitchell, Kyrie. Hell, I think the Bucks will be back. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'll end the stream there, because shit, dude. Think about this freaking Bridges. Sorry. Sorry, my allergies. Bridges was with the Suns, and the Suns had a freaking loaded team, dude. Traded away everybody. So, anyways, it is what it is. Anyways, we got the spring Knicks, guys. Super excited. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.